Okay, everybody, welcome to an episode of On Point EDC. Today I have a cool review for you from the brand Reate knives. Now, I've featured a few knives that came out of the Reate factory here on the channel before, but this is actually a Reate branded knife. Now, this brand is, of course, made in China, and really Reate has become synonymous with quality within the knife industry due to their record of high quality production knives and, of course, using high-end materials, as you see here. Now, if I was to try to categorize this type of knife, I'd consider it that gentleman's folding knife. Some key common characteristics and design: when you're looking for that gentleman's carry type knife, you're going to want something that's sleek with an understated design and very classy handle scales. Now, this is the Reate Bushido with the carbon fiber handle there, and then we do have the hand rubbed satin finish on the blade. Now, essentially, this was kind of named for the samurai code of discipline. The Reate Bushido is that kwaiken style folder that has some very far eastern vibes, and of course the very premium build that's been associated with the brand in general. This knife actually opens using that front flipper, which is great, and it has that nice gentle trailing point, or that kwaiken style blade. These are actually going for $242 out of Blade HQ, which last time I checked they were still in stock, but they are selling out kind of quickly at every corner, so definitely keep an eye out for these. Really a big fan of this one, so let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get it in hand, and take a closer look. Okay guys, now before we jump in to the knife, quick wristwatch check here. As you can see, this is my Zelos Swordfish Titanium. We got the marbled carbon fiber finish there on the bezel insert and the dial. Really great little dive watch here, all titanium. Has that quick adjust clasp with that is toolless, so you don't need to use anything from that standpoint. So really nice. This is a real winner, and I think really would resonate well within the EDC community. So hey, why not wear it while I review a really cool little front flipper. So guys, this thing, man. So Bowler M390 super stainless steel. You got that trailing point. You have a high flat grind. As you can see, they're really nice with that hand rubbed satin finish, nice and pretty thin behind the blade stock there, as you can see, which is a bit of a change of pace, at least for factory Reate, versus some of the other designs that come out of the Reate factory without the Reate branding on them. Essentially, Reate's a little bit known for having much kind of bigger, bulkier blade stocks there, so it's nice to see something a little bit thinner, a little bit slicier, and that hand rubbed finish is absolutely immaculate, as you can see here. This is considered a liner lock with contoured carbon fiber scales, although honestly it would probably still function even without these carbon scales. So I mean, it's almost as robust as a frame lock. As you can see, this isn't a really cheap thin liner there. That liner is, again, nice and thick from that standpoint. So really the main construction of the knife, of course, is the titanium there. This this isn't a steel liner, it's all titanium, so very, very nice from that standpoint. You do have that nicely milled pocket clip, as you can see here as well. Let it get a little focus there. So not super deep carry, but it doesn't really need to be considering its size. I think it'll stay in the pocket fine. As you can see, you'd have about this much riding out of your pocket, which is very still, doesn't stick out or stand out much, or I don't think it's going to draw a lot of attention to you if you're one of those people that does worry about negative attention for a knife. Now, as far as the stats on here, overall it's about 7 inches long with a 3-inch blade. You do have about a 4-inch closed length as well. And then you have a weight of about 2.6 ounces. So this thing, not super lightweight for the size, but definitely not heavy, which is really nice. But let's go ahead and get some little comparisons here, guys. Another knife that came out of the Reate factory, front flipper gentleman's knife. The Pena front flipper trapper. Love this thing. These guys are basically brothers from another mother, maybe the same dad, depending on how you look at it, guys. And you can see here, very similar in shape, but it is about one step down in far as the sizing goes. But that same level of quality, fit and finish is there. Milled pocket clips. Here you have the bolster lock versus the liner lock there, but really absolutely beautiful and very similar in size. Another nice kind of similar offering that's been in my collection for quite a while is this little guy right here. Let's see if I can still, I almost wanted to front flip it, but basically this is the Boker Mini Kwaiken Tuxedo, which was a Blade HQ exclusive, but pardon me. But as you can see, very similar silhouette there, although the footprint is slightly different. You get a little bit of a wider, shorter grip there, but very similar when it comes to that blade, as you can see. Not exactly the same, but very similar aesthetic, especially with this particular model with the carbon fiber, and then of course that nice bolster. I think this one would look gorgeous as a bolster lock. But, you know, alas, I'm not the knife designer on that one. Maybe they'll come out with something special in the future run. But as you can see, very similar look, also very handsome aesthetic there, which I really dig. And then when it comes to front flipping, you can't be in 2020 and not talk about this bad boy right here. Oh, look at that. I misfired, it didn't want to go. So that's one of the big differences when you pick up these two knives, right? The front flipper on this Shamwari or Shamwiri out of the We Knives factory it's very, very particular. This is a very small area for you to have purchase on that. If you're not thinking about it, you're not being deliberate, you're not going to get a good action on it. So basically you have to kind of know the technique. And for me, that technique is putting my angle right about here and just rolling it over. If I do that, I'm pretty much always going to get it. But if I do really any other assimilation of anything else, I'm going to have to really try. But this is another safe one, is I can just rest it here, build it up and go. And as you can see, it works. There, I can get it to every once in a while really get a nice snap out of it. But good knife, very similar in size here, but you can see the flipper is a lot more intuitive here. You don't really have to try to posture it in any which way. You can kind of go over, roll over, you can take it and roll it back. You can even probably get a little bit from the index finger, which is telling in really the flipper geometry on this one is very nice. So as you can see, you can still misfire if you got a little meaty pig hoof like my hand, but as you can see here, you really have to be deliberate. Still love it, but it's one that you kind of, it's a bit of an acquired taste when it comes to the action. But like the Pena here, where it's very much, I think, quite intuitive how to open it. The detent's a little bit more dialed in on the Pena, and then of course the jimping is much finer, so you do have to be a bit more deliberate when it comes to the flip action there. But I would never say that, you know, you would need a really special technique. This one is pretty nice. And then also you do have the nail nick. If you want to do a two-handed open, or you pass this to somebody, they can't figure out how to front flip it, they can still open it if needed. But here it has a really nice, you know, and the nice thing is, yes, it's larger and you can get nice purchase on it, but it's not like obtrusive looking or odd looking. It actually looks quite good closed, which I can appreciate. So sometimes, especially with front flippers, they just have some really odd looking overhang at times when they're closed. But I'm really digging this, guys. As you can see, when I get it in hand ergonomics are really quite good. You have that classic stick-like proportion, of course. If you want to choke up on it, you do have a little bit of jimping you can use. Also on the reverse grip, on this back spacer, you get some nice jimping there. If you want to choke up on it, some type of EDC type cut, you're good as well. So a lot of different options here, and it really feels good pretty much in all of them. So I'll give them that. Really nice ergonomics, but you can't really go wrong with this kind of, you know, Asian inspired Bushido type you know, style there. It definitely fits that theme, so I'm really digging that. And then as far as in pocket goes, guys, you know, this thing is pretty slim. It's very unobtrusive. It's slim in this manner, but here you get a little bit of thickness, so it feels good in hand, but not so much to where it's going to disrupt your pocket, which is really nice. Obviously there's nothing sticking out that you can bump your hand into, which is great. You do have that ceramic ball bearing pivot, so you get the ultra smooth action there. Very dialed in detent with very snappy and intuitive flipper geometry, like I mentioned before. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can do this, and it's just gonna fire away, which is really, really nice. So quite dialed in from that aspect. It works really well, obviously, for me. That thumb kind of roll over, that lighter strike kind of deal, and then when I want to get fancy, there you go. And it's not like one where you pull this way, like where it's really light, you can pull it that way. It's more at an angle. So if you pick one of these up, that works best for me. Now, as far as model variations go, you know, these are pretty much available in either matte carbon fiber or a polished burlap micarta scales. Burlap micarta. Whoa, it's a little late. And basically you can get it either with a stone washed blade that looks nice and matte, or you can get this nice hand rubbed satin, which is really great, and I think it really accentuates that shape of the blade. And although this is obviously the more modern looking handle material, I think it's a really nice contrast from that aspect. Look at the way the light plays on this thing. Very, very impressive from that standpoint. Now, as far as comparable options go, guys, this definitely holds its own against other kind of premium kwaiken style folders, as well as other very highly desirable front flippers, you know, like this bad boy. When you're talking highly desirable front flipper, boom. Actually, let's do it this way, guys. Let's just be weird. It'll help with the camera angle so nothing looks longer. And then as far as desirable kwaiken style knives, boom, it does hold its own. And another highly desirable front flipper. It fits right into the family, guys. Okay, so obviously you can see there's a clear aesthetic that I like, and there's an actuation that I've been enjoying when it comes to knives. Front flippers have definitely kind of caught my fancy a bit, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because it's just exercising a different piece of my hand versus your typical. Actually, this isn't your typical flipper here. Instead of like your regular kind of light switch, I do a little bit more of a roll over on the back like that on this one because of the kind of odd flipper geometry. But the nice thing is that doesn't pocket poke. And then of course you've got this bad boy, which is pretty much one of the finest knives that I own, and pretty much close to perfect when it comes to design, execution, and really everything kind of marrying up together as one. Then you get this bad boy. This is a wonderful little knife. The thing I really like about it is it's small, right? It's not going to be scary to people. Looks all right in the hand, right? So if you do need to cut something open, or you're at a birthday party, something like that, and somebody needs you to cut a balloon string, you're not going to scare everyone away when you pop this thing out and cut something with it. I think the nice thing is it's recognizable as a knife, and that Japanese inspired design almost gives it kind of an artisan appeal and quality to it. So it doesn't necessarily look like a weapon that people, you know, especially because of the size. So people shouldn't be too scared off, you know, obviously depending on where you are. Some people might be just scared of anything that looks like a knife, especially when it locks. But for me, this thing is really nice, and you can see it has very nice kind of not quite drop shut action, but still very well. There you go. Well, of course, if I move the detent ball out of the way, this is gonna close pretty good, and then it's just, you know, a little shake down. So not like a guillotine action, but really smooth, and nothing to complain about from that standpoint. So for me, you know, bottom line, this is, I'd say, some of my favorite production customs have come out of the Reate factory, honestly. So it's really great to see something come out, you know, from Reate with the Reate brand on it. So David Dang is the founder of Reate, and he's done an excellent job as a knife enthusiast to really take that brand and that factory and you know, build a really great reputation for them. Similar to Zelos, right? You know, you think watches, you think Swiss or Japanese, German, and here we go. You know, Chinese manufactured watch, and we got a Chinese manufactured blade. Well, actually, I don't know if the watch is made in China. It might be Hong Kong. I forget where, but basically Asian made, and not in, you know, and not made in Japan. So you find these little gems out there, and this is definitely one of them. I love the way this thing looks, feels in hand. Everything about it is really dialed in. So definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.